extremely fun. It's Sunrise with Craig Vronick right here on KCMX AM 880. Lively conversations around news, politics, and people, plus local news and weather every 30 minutes. We want to hear from you. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or go to kcmxam.com. Join in the conversation by calling 541-772-8255. Sunrise, where it matters what you think.
My baby, she gone, she been gone tonight. I ain't seen my baby since night of bullet. One bourbon, one scotch, and one bill.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. 7 minutes after the hour, about 51 degrees outside. Going to get to 63, and it's going to be a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in Southern Oregon, and thrilled to welcome to the program Ken Goddard, and he is the lab director for the National Forensics Laboratory for the United States Fish and Wildlife, and Forensics Laboratory is located in Ashland. Turns out it is the only one of its kind in the entire world. They produce results, and they have never lost a case, and they have investigative agents all around the world, and they send their, I guess it would be evidence related to anything, related to poaching, anything related to fish and wildlife, to this laboratory. It's a federal installation. And Ken, thank you so much for coming on the program. A lot of exciting news. We've got the Philippine delegation here in town. Tell us about it, and tell us about the laboratory.
Good morning, Craig. Happy to. We're having quite a week today. We have visitors from the Philippines. Actually, Anzi Tay, she's the Undersecretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. We've never had anybody that high up show up here. And one of her bureau chiefs, Asis Perez, Director of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. And it's all about a memorandum of agreement that they just signed with the Director of the Fish and Wildlife Service, saying that our lab is going to help them, one, with working with some of their cases, and now we can do it legally. But more importantly, we're going to help create a capability, forensic capability, similar to ours in the Philippines. They desperately need it. Their islands are being ransacked with all of the coral reef products, trees. Their natural resources are just being stolen. So and we're going to help stop that.
Well, good. And this is a worldwide problem. And folks don't realize the epic. I mean, we hear about the elephants. We hear about, the ivory tusks. And we hear about when their lions are killed. And we hear about gorillas and all that kind of poaching. But poaching and trafficking and smuggling is at an all-time high. Give us some facts and figures on numbers and, what's really at stake.
Well, it's huge. Trees alone, forests are being ransacked for the timber trade, planks, wood, by the train loads, leaving and boats heading to varying other countries. Similar to what was happening out here with our old-growth forests, only I think we kind of got some control over that. But in some of these other nations, there's really no controls at all. And we're trying to figure out where some of the stuff came from, with wildlife, the birds, the whole gamut of wildlife resources of these countries are basically being stolen by some greedy fellows with some clever smuggling techniques. But we're applying forensics, CSI, some interesting technology, and that's what Asis and his folks got to see yesterday.
They had to have been just impressed. I was fortunate enough to get a tour of the laboratory with your guidance, and it was just absolutely fascinating. This goes around the world, and the scientific, just like you said, CSI approach, and this takes weeks and weeks and months, but you said that you'd never lost a case, and the evidence that is sent by the agents from around the world, when you see it and they go to court, it's pretty much done deal. It's just a matter of now lacking the manpower to catch these smugglers and everything else.
It's a tough deal. The wildlife rangers out there, we train rangers in Africa. We've been doing it for several years, usually 30 at a time. Spend 2 weeks training them in investigative and crime scene investigation techniques. These are real heroes. They're out by themselves, taking on smugglers armed with AK-47 assault rifles. They typically might have an assault rifle, more likely a bolt-action rifle, but no backup. Alone in a jeep, maybe with a radio. When I was there a couple of years ago and teaching the Kenyan officers, they had lost 10 rangers that year to poachers.
I mean,
we're trying to give them tools. We're trying to help them fight back.
Well, and this is a real life. This is something like right out of the movies, you know. And I was talking about your laboratory earlier on the show, and that it's such a feather in the cap for Jackson County that the only fish and wildlife laboratory in the world is right here in Jackson County, and you've got to be so proud of that. And
well, I can't tell you how happy we are. I mean, imagine how easy it is for me to lure some of the top scientists in the United States. All I have to do is get them out here and let them see the Rogue Valley. Let them see all the lifestyles. If you like to hunt, fish, hike, there's theaters here in Ashland. If you like the cultural stuff, there's rivers. Well, you all, listeners out there all know what I'm saying.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
a gorgeous environment, and we get to live here and work all around the world. It doesn't really get much better than that.
No, and you do a lot of traveling, and of course back to Washington D.C. and whatnot, and then the service director Dan Ash as well. So when they come out, it's pretty much a little slice of heaven out here. Well, the next thing is this Philippine delegation. They've been able to check out the laboratory, but now you get to do something that's really fun for them. Take them out to wildlife images in Merlin.
One of my favorite places on the earth, yes. Wildlife Images, we've been associated with them, Dave Sidden, for many years. They're a source of live animals, hair, blood, the things that we can work on. We can change diets. We have a lot of research things in mind where they can help us figure out where an animal came from, stable isotopes. They're in the ground. They go into the plants. Herbivores eat the plants. They take on those stable isotopes. Carnivores eat the herbivores. So, the Earth has been mapped for stable isotopes, and we're able to tell, or we're going to be able to tell, where an animal came from. It's an extremely powerful tool.
That's just amazing. But, the work that Dave Sidden Jr. has done in Wildlife Images for all these years, I mean, it's been over 30 years, and of course his dad started it, but the work, and they have their own lab, because they offer medical care for these animals, and then they feed them and they keep them so that they're not human imprinted, so they can release them. And so they are cycling through, I think I saw, we're over 1,000 animals a year through their laboratories and their care center. And then, of course, they have the permanent ambassadors. But I think the Philippine delegation is going to have a great time out there.
They're getting to see them today. One of the nicest things I've gotten to do, I think, in my life, Dave allowed me to release a golden eagle. I'd done none of the work. They did months and months and months of rehab work on this gorgeous creature, and it was going to get let loose. And Dave said, "Hey, would you like to do something fun?" And they invited me up there, and I got to heave this lovely creature up into the air. It hit the air with its wings, circled around us looking down. I thought, oh no, is it going to land back on my arm? But it did a nice full circle and took off down the river. It was such a lovely thing to see.
Well, and there's more stories than we have time today with Grizz and the Bears and Brady.
Something your listeners might like real quickly. When Dave Sr. Showed up here when we were having the groundbreaking from the lab, he came up to me and he said, "Look, the government's probably going to drive you nuts, right?" And I said, "Oh yeah, they've been doing it for a long time." He said, "When that happens, come out here, be a chew toy with a grizzly bear." I did it several times. It was a lovely escape.
Well, and this was something. I mean, this is one of these stories, and I wish we had more time, and we will. We're going to come back. It'll be kind of a part 2 because Grizz at that point had been injured, and you were able to climb in, and he was...
Be his toy, yes. He needed affection. I was willing to engage. I trusted Dave Sidden Sr. He watched out for me. I never got hurt. And it probably wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done in my life, but with having Grizz lick me on the face and nuzzle and want to wrestle and play, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing for for just a select few. Well, this is going to be great with this the Philippine Department of Environment and Natural Resources Undersecretary, Miss Analiza Tay.
We're hoping to get a raptor on her wrist today. I think this will be amazing for her.
This is going to be unbelievable. And then Asis Perez, he's the Philippines Director of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. And we've got Ken Goddard on the phone with us. He's the lab director for the Fish and Wildlife Forensics Laboratory in Ashland. And Ken, you said that we've never had dignitaries ever before like this.
Not at the Undersecretary level. They don't show up here. She traveled a long way to sign that memorandum of agreement. She's Asis's boss. Normally, those people stay back home, but we're having a wonderful, unique opportunity to show them what we do and show them a wonderful rehab center in the Rogue Valley. I hope these will be memories they take with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, well, we'll hopefully get some pictures and get posted up. Of course, that'll be a great opportunity. And then, once again, to see that partnership with the laboratory and wildlife images. And, you know, Ken, when I was at the laboratory a couple weeks back, you were able to hand me a section of this ivory tusk that it came in for fingerprints, correct?
Mm-hmm. Fingerprints and trying to figure out where it came from, you bet.
Exactly, and it was a small section. It was about 12 to 14 inches long and about 6 to 8 inches in diameter, and it weighed about 20 pounds. I said, wow. He said, you know what this is worth? And it's $10,000 a pound is what
it's $1,000 a pound, but yeah, you were holding $10,000 in your hand.
Okay,
yeah.
$1,000 a pound, yeah. And so it was just so incredible that that's what these poachers and these smugglers are all about, and it's
too much money. The elephants and rhinos are in deep danger. The rhino horn goes for $100,000 to $150,000 a horn in Asia. That's just you can't protect the animals if there's that kind of price on their head. Well,
and we're this big story that's coming out of Nigeria, where this terrorist group has kidnapped these young girls at school. And they took over the buses and drove them away and kidnapped them. And that stuff goes on the country, all around the world on a regular basis.
That's the mentality we're trying to fight against. We have to. Our part is the animals. We're going to help the Department of Defense out there in northern Africa, elephant, rhino, kill site crime scenes, teach them how to work those and get the evidence on who's doing it.
Wow. Well, Ken, it's just fascinating work, and it's just really something, but I think it's a feather in the cap for Americans that the fact that we're coming together and helping, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and of course the National Laboratory.
This will be the first time we've actually done what we're about to do with a country. The Philippines is willing to make the effort to get us there. They're coming here. Ideally, as a partnership pair, we're going to help train each other, and then we're going to go to other countries.
That's just really fascinating. I mean, it's cutting edge. I mean, this is something that around the world we're going to help out. And you think of all the other countries and all of the other poaching and smuggling and groups. And, you know, I always say, follow the money, right? And this is what you do on a regular basis is follow the money.
It's a sad job, yeah. But it's a very satisfying job. I think I'm going to be able to look back and think I made good use of my professional career.
Well, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Goddard, he's the lab director of the Fish and Wildlife Forensics Laboratory in Ashland, the only one in the world. It's a federal installation. It's across from ScienceWorks down on Main Street. You can get to the website, lab.fws.gov, and we'll put that link up on our Facebook page, Fish and Wildlife Service. So it's fws.gov and lab.fws.gov. And Ken, have a wonderful day. It's got to be, I mean, just all I can say is enjoy it and let the rest speak for itself as the Filipino, delegation comes in and.
We plan on having a very lovely day today.
Excellent. And then, of course, out to Wildlife Images up in Merlin. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been out to Wildlife Images, you need to do that. It's a fantastic facility, and it's going to be great. We're going to have more on the program with Ken and with Dave Sidden, but we just wanted to get that quick little break because they're in town yesterday and today, and then the delegation is off and running. So, Ken, thank you so much for your time. I know it's extremely busy. So.
Thank you, Craig. I'm looking forward to talking to your listeners some more.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, have a super day, and we'll be in touch real soon.
Good.
All right.
Bye.
Wow. Unbelievable. Ken Goddard, ladies and gentlemen. His years and years of experience with the national laboratories. We'll come right back. More in the Sunrise Show. We're getting all warmed up. Lars Larson will be on in the 8:30 hour. Woo, he's in town. Wants to hear from you. All right, back after this.
Think about what's trying to do to me. Think man gonna let you be free. You need me, and I need you. Without each other,
Stay tuned. Sunrise will return in a moment on KCMX Newstalk 880.